We're live. Okay, hello everybody. This is Goldfinger the Gold Man. With me today, I have Kevin Tucker, who's going to be giving you some information about stock trading on options. I'm going to turn my mic off, so hold on. His video's still up. I just got to shut my mic off and check his sound. And off.
All right. Good morning to everybody on this side of the world, and good evening to everybody else.
Just make sure there's a sound check, so keep talking.
All right. Well,
You can start anytime.
all right, guys. So, if y'all saw the video that Sam and I did with Goldfinger last week, I figured there'd be a lot of questions, and so we decided to have me come in and do this. So, if you guys have any questions, you want me to get more in detail, in depth with what I went over, just go ahead and put it in the comments section here. So hopefully I didn't confuse too many people with that, but it is actually, it is fairly simple if you saw it. So
we have 26.
Wow, 26 already.
Yeah, the comments will come in a little bit.
Volume is not good. Is it too low, too high?
Yeah, tell us what it is.
So.
Just tell them I quit.
All right. So, but
you came in a little late and we
couldn't. Yeah, that's my fault, guys. They're doing road
They're hearing you.
Well, Goldfinger was saying that I was a little late today because they were doing road construction. They tore up the road right over here, and you had to take a little bypass, and I went right past the street. I was almost to Robinson's Mall before I realized, where the heck are you going? So, but all right. So,
okay, try it.
So, hopefully,
all right,
I can come up a little.
Should be fine.
All right.
So, talk a little bit. Ask them if the volume's okay.
Okay.
It up.
Everybody. Yeah. Well, they're saying they can't hear Goldfinger. Goldfinger's mic isn't on.
My mic's not on.
So you won't hear him. But you should hear me. So
okay, you're good now.
You want to head up to the top and see what the
there wasn't
comments are?
Up there.
Nothing?
Nobody's
Okay.
Ready to go.
All right. So here we go. Oh, is that Sam? Yeah, look at that. Sam's in. Sam didn't make it to the live stream today, but he's with us. Sad to see that Kevin took his channel down. I stumbled upon his option trading video about a year and a half ago, and it was literally changed my life. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Young. So, yeah, the channel just kind of ran its course, and if you've been watching me this year, you saw I was only doing maybe 1 to 3 videos a month anyway. So, but I may pick it up again. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to the U.S. Monday. It's Saturday morning here, and I'm flying business class, so I'm going to make a video of that, and I may post it. So, may put it back up. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, like Alvin says, let's smash the like button. Yeah, help Goldfinger up. Hook a brother up. So, Israel says my volume's too low, but that could have been old. But yeah, you can't hear. Okay, they're saying mine's fine.
Yeah.
Nathan Tucker, wow, a Tucker. Where are you from, Nathan? What part of the world are you from, or the States? What metrics do you look at the most in determining a put or a call? Asked Nathan. Well, you mean picking the stock or picking the price? When you do a put, that's when you have cash. When you do a covered call, that's when you own the stock. But what I do is I try and come down, and I use a thing called a delta, but not every broker is going to have that. Robinhood has it. I know IBKR has it, and some others. I look for a delta in the 0.17 to 0.22 range, but I can also figure that out. Pretty much kind of figure that out on my own. And I just try and pick a stock to where I hopefully won't, a price where I'll be low enough to where I won't get assigned. You know, the market, evidently, China's reneging on some of the tariffs, their deal. So market took a little beating last night. I was surprised at that. So, you know, which is a scary thing. I mean, right now the market is very iffy. You know, you've got all these tariffs are going to expire. What, 90 days from April 1st or whatever? So when is that going to be? April, May, June. So at the end of June. So, you know, if not enough countries make the deals, tariffs are going to go up. That's going to freak economists out. So definitely do your due diligence. So, let's see.
Now, do you want the board is up here, or you want
No.
it brought down?
No, that's fine.
Fine.
If I have to write something, I can just reach over there. So no big deal. Much better. Kevin, I loved your channel. Keep doing it. All right, Greg, thanks. Like I said, I'm going back to the States, and videos in the States don't do that well because most of the people are in the States, so they don't really care about that. They like the Philippine stuff, but we'll see when I get back. Bay Area Tanders, you're fine. Nathan from Tennessee. Tennessee's my favorite state. I have some land in North Carolina, though. Let's see. Thanks for doing the live. I've been watching you since the beginning and ready to become a student of the wheel strategy. Okay, Frankie. So if you saw that video, I mean, that is pretty much it. You know, when you're just getting into it, all you have is cash. Then you'll do the cash secured puts. And then once you do get assigned, and eventually you will buy the stock. Something will happen, it'll drop low enough. But the good thing about that is it's a stock you liked anyway. You're going to get it at a discount, and someone's going to pay you a premium for it. And then you'll go over and do the covered calls the next day or the next week and try and get out of it. So let's see here. Thanks for doing the live. Been watching you. Okay, so that one. I traded horribly today. Lost 25% of my account. I took it as a learning lesson. Yeah, Friday in the U.S. It was a rough day. My puts, fortunately, I still do. I own a lot of stock, but I did a lot of puts, and I came close to getting assigned. Just 7 cents away. If it would have dropped another 7 cents, I would have had to buy a lot of stock. So that worked out okay for me, though.
This guy made it. Thanks.
And owe it all to me. All right. Well, that's good to hear. And
Again, they can't.
oh, so yeah, so
You gotta read them.
I forgot you can't hear Goldfinger, but 80% return in his first year, which is fantastic. You know, I think the best any of my guys did last year, a guy, Adrian, he did 88%. He was right at 100%, but there was no Santa Claus rally last year. Normally you get they call it a Santa Claus rally for the last week or so of the year, and then the first week of January, and there wasn't one. So, what brokerage firm would you recommend and why? Robinhood is the easiest site to navigate, and they do show the delta, but as a company, I do not recommend them. I don't like them because they don't have an office. They have one office in San Francisco. And, you know, if you use a reputable broker like Charles Schwab, Fidelity, someone like that, normally whatever city you're in is going to have one. You know, lived in Houston. We had 3 Charles Schwabs there. So, but they, you know, Charles Schwab and Fidelity, they also charge commissions. So, you know, it's hard to.
What is S?
You like SCHD? That's a stock, but I don't know what it is. I mean, it might be an ETF, exchange traded fund, but I'm not familiar with it, and I don't have my phone on. I wouldn't. Remember.
You gotta read it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you can't hear Goldfinger. Would you ever place a covered call below the current stock price? if you get assigned, well, you can't lose money doing covered calls unless you sell it for less than you paid for it. So that's the whole thing. Now, I don't want to confuse that. When I say you can't lose money, you cannot lose money if you do your covered call for more than you paid for it. But you can leave money on the table. Let me stress that. So, if you bought it for $10 a share and you did a covered call for what you paid for it, or for 11, and then it goes to 12, well, you're leaving $1 on the table. But that's, for me, I don't mind. I actually just put it up for sale at what I got assigned, and that way I get a great premium that day, and hopefully the stock will sell, and then I can go back to doing cash secured puts the week after that, because I don't ever want to own stock. So, what's the worst thing that has happened to you trading stocks? The stocks drop. I'm sitting on 34,000 shares of stock right now because I got greedy, and then they dropped, and so I'm trying to do a covered call. They're down 20%, so I can still do my covered calls, but I'm not getting paid as much as I could be if I would have gotten assigned at a lesser price. But would you recommend Schwab as a broker for a very small account? I just made my first trade, but wasn't profitable due to fees. Yeah, again, they do charge fees, and some of them are ridiculous. I mean, I've had them get me like 8% or something like that sometimes, and it's like, holy cow, what's up with that? So, like I said, now Robinhood does not charge any fees or any commission. They do charge a 33-cent in U.S. money, 33 cents regulatory fees per trade. So, yeah, so that beats Schwab and Fidelity and all those guys. So, okay. A big thanks to Kevin for his prior video on the channel doing options with a Bitcoin miner, and made option money on that and continuing with that this year too. Okay. Well, that's great, Napoleon. Like I said, I appreciated you watching the channel. Thanks for supporting that. Can you lay out the specific criteria you use to screen for stocks beyond expiring weekly? That works for this 0.014-ish premium per week. Most stocks in this range Sam was talking about expire monthly. Like I said, the stocks that I do, I'm interested in the industry. So, and they're volatile enough. That's how I pick it. So, they are going to pay better the more volatile they are. That's just how that works. And a lot of stocks do only do it monthly. There'll be 13 4-week periods. Not quite monthly, but every 4 weeks. So, like I said, trying to pick a stock, that's something you guys are going to have to figure out. Sam had mentioned it last week, I believe. When he was asking me about stocks, I said, well, just go on Google and Google top stocks for trading options under $20. And yeah, stuff will pop up. Yeah, that stuff will pop up, and then just do your homework, and look at it. So, why didn't you roll that put when it got near 7 cents? Well, actually, I was asleep. So, but, I don't roll puts normally. I go far enough out to where if I get assigned, if I would have got assigned last night, that's fine. Now, I roll calls because, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm so far out of the money on some of mine that I can't get anything for what I paid for it. So I'll do my call for less than what I paid for it. And I definitely don't want it to get called away, because if it hit that price, I would have to sell, which would mean I'd lose money. So if it gets close to that, I will roll it to the next week. And what I'm basically saying, guys, if my stock's getting close to selling, I can roll it, which means I can move the trade. Instead of it expiring this Friday, I can move it to next Friday and change the price. And sometimes I can actually make money on that. And sometimes I might have to pay to do that. Depends on how much the stock goes up in a week. So when you do this, when you trade options, you do an options contract. I always sell to open. So there's two things I can do if I want to get out of it. I can do the opposite, which is called buy to close. So I will have to go in, and that will cost me money. That's going to cost me more than I made that week to close it out. But then I can turn around and do another covered call with the same thing just for more money and get paid for that as well. Or I can roll it to next week. And rolling it, it basically cuts a step out instead of buying to close and then doing a whole nother contract. It's easier to roll it. So but that's something you definitely have to pay attention. Okay, wait, so the larger brokerage firms charge fees, so I imagine I don't want one of those, right? I mean, what no-fee brokers are good? What do you use? I use all of them. I've got multiple accounts. You know, I've got, I had TD Ameritrade that got bought by Schwab. No, Goldfinger's asking me if I compare prices with the brokerages, and no, they all. Do you mean?
Like before you make a trade, you compare charge
No,
in each trade?
actually no, because he's asking if I check the fees and commission and all that before I make the trade, but no, because that doesn't come up until right before I hit submit. So like if I'm on Charles Schwab, I'll go through the whole thing and hit review trade, and then right before I hit submit, it'll go to another screen, and that's where I find out what the fees are. So I don't know. I really don't.
All right. I put my mic on because I might be able to help you with some questions.
Okay.
Here. It says this, Schwab. I have my voice pretty low, guys, so there's no echo. Schwab option fees are 66 cents per option. Does that sound very cheap?
Well, and it depends. It depends on the stock. It depends on whether you're doing a put. It depends on whether you're doing a call. It varies. I mean, sometimes it's nothing, like you're saying. I don't know the method to their madness for that, to be honest with you.
Here's a question.
Do you ever buy to close, put trades, or just take the assignment no matter how far they drop? Yeah, I just go ahead and get assigned. You know, I mean, I'm already going out far enough to where if it's that bad of a week, then normally, and this is just in my experience, I'm not saying it happens every time, but normally if you have a really, really bad week, normally it comes back up a little bit the next week. So if I get assigned, I just put it up for the same price that I paid for it, and then hopefully it'll go up and get called away. All right, so Steve Moore, Kevin taught me a lot. I made 84% of my money last year. So guys, that's my best friend. So he's been watching me do this for years, and he dragged his feet and finally got in last year, and he's doing well.
That's great.
So, okay, if the profit capital, the profit, you're going to be taxed at capital gains, either short-term or long-term capital gains. So if you're sitting on stock and you've owned the stock for a year or longer, and that ever gets called away, say in a covered call situation, you would be taxed at long-term capital gains. But these weekly premiums that I get paid are short-term capital gains, and that's taxed at almost identical rates to income. So taxes can get high.
Here's one, but I don't know if you can give tax advice.
How do you trade on a Roth, or do you just contribute to the Roth regularly on your own? I put in $8,000 a year, and actually that's the main reason I kept my channel around. When you do a Roth IRA, and guys, I highly recommend this. I forgot to talk about this in that last video. I highly recommend getting a Roth IRA. I mean, it is such a good deal. that Congress limits how much money we can put in there. If you're 50 or older, is it 50? If you're 50 or older, you can put $8,000 a year in, and if you're younger than that, you can put I think it's 7,500 or 7,000, something like that. But when you open one, they will let you go back a year. So if you've got 16 grand laying around, you can actually go back 2 years. But that money grows tax-free.
That's excellent.
Well, Goldfinger was asking me about a traditional IRA, and what that is, that's where the money comes out of your paycheck before taxes, and then it goes in there. You can invest it, and then you don't pay taxes on it until you take it out. But eventually, you will have to take it out. The government wants their money. Like my parents are in their 80s. They're
could be in a different tax bracket when you take it out.
Yeah, but hopefully you're not.
Well,
Hopefully you're still.
lower.
Well, no, I mean, I'm hoping to be in a high tax bracket.
Because
Even my.
at a certain age, you actually can have an income that's tax-free.
Oh.
So if you pull out that income from, and again, you guys have to check with an accountant.
Oh, yeah.
An accountant. We're going to cover our ass, okay? But the bottom line is, if you take the money out after you retire, you're on Social Security, you're allowed to take out a certain amount of money as income on a monthly basis and not be taxed.
Well, you know, the thing is, when the Roth, that's going in there as post-taxed, so it's net income. It's got to be earned income, net earned income, which is after taxes, and then everything grows tax-free. In a traditional IRA, everything that's growing is going to get taxed. So, you know, but that's why I was doing my YouTube channel, because that's my only earned income, because this is capital gains. I cannot put capital gains money in a Roth IRA. But yeah, Sam, you just put the money in there, and then it's just like a regular account. Everything would be the same. Make your trades the same and all that.
You're right here. Come on, guys, hit the like button.
Sell puts in an uptrend, sell calls in a downtrend. I sell puts. I sell puts every week. So it you know, there's people out there willing to make the deal every week. So, like I said.
Where are you? Here's next question.
Schwab fees are too high, then IBKR and Robinhood are the best brokerage fees. Okay, Eric. One thing I didn't like about IBKR, and I have it, the terminology is different. And if you're not a U.S. citizen, instead of selling and buying, it has bid and ask. But it was also a little confusing for me, because I did a trade on there and I triple checked it, and then when I hit submit, it was the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. So I wasn't very happy about that. So I don't do a lot in that. So let's see. When the tariffs tank the market, you're forced to buy a lot of stock. And from what you said in the last live, it sounds like you're having trouble moving it without a loss. Continued.
Which is right here.
Oh, okay. I believe ties up capital, so you can't make money with it. A downward market seems to offer risk. How do you manage that risk? Well, and you're correct. So I am still making money on it, but like I said, I have to be very diligent, because my covered calls right now, I'm not getting paid. I wouldn't get paid very much to do it at my cost. So I'm doing it for less than my cost to make decent money. And but I have to be diligent. You know, that's what we were talking about, rolling the next week. So, but the key is, don't get as greedy as I was. You know, I'm going down. When I showed you the last video, I'm going down 2 or 3 prices where I might have just gone down 1 and got greedy and got assigned. So.
Hey, Victor, this will be recorded. YouTube will have this up later when it's all done. You can watch it later. Here you go. Again, 66 cents. I'm looking at the interactive brokers. Okay, let me move down. I don't know how far behind we are. Probably pretty far. Okay, we are. Can you trade ETFs?
Sure, you can get options on ETFs. They're not going to pay that much, because they're not very volatile. They don't move very much in a week. So that's something that, and I don't know if they're weekly. Most of them might be the 4 weekers. So, but they normally don't pay very much because they just don't move. Okay, if you sell a put, let's say the current price is $11 and you sell the put at 10 for a week, and on Tuesday it drops to $9, does the contract get exercised as soon as it goes below 10? This is a great question, Craig. It doesn't necessarily get assigned. I mean, but the person you make the deal with can exercise it at any point during the week. So if it dropped to that, they could close the deal out and force me to buy it. And I would have to buy it for 10. So, but most of the time, it goes all the way to Friday. I think I've only had anybody do that twice in 5 years, get me on something like that. So normally people just wait. They let it go. So, and okay. Sorry, Goldfinger's got the scroll button.
I know you can
Oh.
where I saw it.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
When you look at the delta, do you deduct the number from 100? Yeah, basically, that is what I do. So if it's 0.17, you can look at that and say, all right, I have an 83% chance, or it's going to be in that range. It's not exactly that, but it's very close. If it's got a delta of 0.17, it's going to be like somewhere between like a 78 and 85% chance of getting a sign. But and another thing that I do, I'll just divide the price of the premium into how much I'm putting up for collateral for the put. So say if I'm getting paid a $10 premium and the stock is $9 a share, so I'm putting up 900, I'll just divide 10 divided by 900. That'll give me a number, and I basically kind of look at that as a delta. So
Eric has one more question.
okay. Do you find it works better to diversify into options on a number of different names at the same time, or do you buy a large number of options on one stock? I deal with stocks that are in the same industry, so it really doesn't matter. For my puts, like I deal with 5 stocks normally, and each one, say on Monday before I do my puts, I will look at the premiums on all of them, and I'll try and find the sweet spot in that delta, the safest thing, which one's paying well, and that's the one I go with. And then I just normally do one. So, but right now I'm sitting on 34,000 shares of stock. I have 3 different stocks. One of them I've only got 300 shares, but so pretty much 33,700 shares of 2 stocks. And then, like I said, as I do my puts, I look through 5 of them, and I pick the best one for the week, and that's what I do.
Thank you, Seaweed, for joining. Here's a question from Bologna.
Okay, I heard Tasty Trade is best for options trading. Okay, I never heard of Tasty Trade. And you got Webull, you've got a ton of brokers out there. I mean, just go on Google and put in, which brokerages allow stock options, and you should have lots of choices.
Here's a question, Napoleon.
Schwab's told me they will lock me out of my account if I've been in the Philippines for over 6 months. Do any of your brokerage accounts do that? Yeah, you're not allowed to trade here on that. That's why I recommend IBKR. So, yeah, it's best to get out of the Philippines. So, to do that. Don't stay here over 6 months, like he said. So, which I do. I get out as well. So, that's a good thing. I believe in Thailand you can actually trade, but not the Philippines.
All right, Eric's got another question.
Do you think it's better to sign up for Thinkorswim or Schwab for options as opposed to using the regular Schwab site? The Schwab site works for me. I've never been on Thinkorswim or anything like that, so I really can't give you an opinion on that.
Frankie in the Philippines still confused.
About what brokerage? Okay, and again, Like I said, Robinhood doesn't charge any fees other than a 33-cent thing. It's super easy site to navigate. I mean, when you get on Robinhood, it's basically there's 4 buttons. You'll have buy, sell, call, put. So you just click on sell, or put, and that's easy. You go to Charles Schwab, you got to get on that site, and it's options. Then pick the strategy, which is call or put. Then you have to do the action, sell to open. Then you got to click, put in the quantity. Then you got to pick the date. Then you got to pick the price. So, where on Robinhood, when you click on it, the screen's going to be there and everything's going to be right there. You can see all the prices. Whereas Schwab, you have to click on each individual price before you can see how much you're going to get paid and all that. So, as I said, just Robinhood though, they don't have an office. You can't call them. I'm having a little issue with them right now that I got to deal with when I get back. That's how I know there's only one office, and I'm actually kind of screwed right now because the only way they can verify your identity is by facial recognition. And my driver's license has been renewed twice through the mail, so that picture's 12 years old. My passport expires in April, so that's picture's over 9 years old. So I tried to do the facial recognition, and I don't look like me anymore. So I can't get into Robinhood right now, and they're just basically like tough, So I'm not happy with them right now. So.
It says SPY and QQQ are popular ETFs for option trading, even daily options, but they're expensive.
That's the S&P 500. Those are ETFs, the S&P 500, and I believe QQQ is the NASDAQ, right? So, like I said, I don't deal with ETFs. So, I mean, those are good ones to deal with if you're just going to buy and hold. So, but the most volatile stocks in the stock market often don't have option change. Why is that the case? I don't know. I don't know why some don't. Like if you look at gold stocks don't normally have options. No. So I don't know why. I don't know.
You have to get an ETF on that.
Yeah. So.
We have silver ETFs and gold ETFs.
Sure. Yeah, SLV and.
Hello, Gary. Okay, what do we got? Wash sales. What are those?
How about the issue of wash sales? Okay. So, if you sell your stock at a loss, which you can do, and it's fine. You get a tax break for that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but what that means is you cannot buy that stock or another stock that's like it for 30 days. If you do, you will lose that tax break. So I have done it before, and I just wait 5 weeks, 35 days, just to make sure.
Okay.
So,
all right, guys,
good question.
We have almost 80 people here. Hit that like button. Send some coffee money. All right. Here you go. Have you ever signed due to after-hour trading? Sometimes there's some funky stuff happening in the after-hours market.
No, that's never happened to me. So
before hours market too, don't they?
They have a pre-market.
Yeah.
Like I said, some companies, I think IBKR may be one of them, where they will actually let you exercise put in your trade and before the market opens. But don't quote me on that.
Okay, where am I? Who was it that spoke?
The wash sales down there at Spectre.
Oh, okay.
Spectator.
All right, let's get this up.
Sorry guys, I'm not wearing reading glasses right now, so these are just regular glasses. So
here we are right here.
All right, with Sam, I've been placing my trades while you do them at market opening, which is late at night in the Philippines. Why do you do this? Well, I mean, if you place your trade on Sunday, something could still happen to affect the market. So, I mean, I just wait until it gets right there. The stocks that I deal with can change over the weekend. So if you're placing your trade Sunday night here in the Philippines, That's Saturday morning in the U.S. Or no, it'd be what, Sunday morning in the U.S. So you still have a 24-hour period or so before the market opens. So I mean, I just wait and do it right then and there.
You got to do it live. You got to be online and do it live when the markets are open, I would imagine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you think of these yield max ETFs like NVDY? You know, I really don't deal with ETFs. And I guess that's an ETF that's affiliated with NVIDIA. I mean, I don't know.
It says they're actually ETF is doing the wheel strategy like you're talking
Oh.
about, and that's how the ETF is making its money.
Yeah, there
That's
are
interesting.
there
So you
are
can
some out
invest
there.
in an ETF that actually does a wheel strategy.
Oh, well, so a lot of them do that. Like there's one out there called Misty, MSTY, and they're affiliated with MSTR, which is MicroStrategy. I think they just changed their name to Strategy, but that's what they do. They invest in shares of MicroStrategy, and then they do covered calls on it and pick up that extra income.
So you could just buy the stock or buy the option on the stock
Right.
as well. Okay.
And that's a very crazy stock, guys. That's one that I own 300 shares on, and it pays a 10% dividend every month.
The only problem with something like that is that if you're leveraging on a stock like that, okay, and buying options, and they're doing what you're doing, that's a huge risk factor, I would think.
Yeah, it's I don't deal with
You're
many of
leveraging on a
those.
lever.
Yeah. Exactly.
Here we go from Napoleon.
Excuse me. Yeah, Schwab is okay with trading for within Thailand without the limit, but not for the Philippines. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so NASCAR all out. I'm mainly a small caps trader and haven't focused much on options. I have an elementary understanding of options. Yeah, go back and check out the video that we just did here last week. And then there's a ton of videos, y'all, on YouTube. Just put in the wheel strategy stock options, and so it's out there.
All right. Let's see. I don't know what 1-0's. Tell us, guys, how the volume's been. My mic's turned way down, and because Kevin's is turned with a lot of gain, I didn't want an echo. Anyway, don't forget to hit the like button. Here's Steve Moore with a question.
Okay, the opposite of Craig's question on the put being executed before Friday. You might want to explain about having to watch the calls more diligently if you do that contract for under your cost price. Yeah, and that's what I mentioned earlier. You know, that's I have to pay attention if I'm doing my covered calls, which is where I agree to sell the stock at a certain price, and if I'm doing that for less than my cost, well, I would lose money if that happened. So I have to pay attention, and that's when I would roll it to the next week. Because say if it's a $10 stock, but I paid 14 for it, I might do a covered call for 12, and if it gets up there close to 12, I will roll it to the next week, and I can actually change it and put it at 14 or something like that, because it went up 20%, so I can actually go and put it for my price the next week. But yeah, I do have to pay attention on that. Puts, I don't care. If it, I'm normally far enough out of it to where I just get assigned the stock. I don't mind that. So, all right, a downward trending market seems to offer a lot of risk. How do you manage that risk? Well, it's not for the weak. It's that's why people tell you not to throw all your eggs in one basket and stuff like that. I also own real estate and things like that. I'm a part investor of an apartment complex. So, I am diversified, but again, you just have to do your due diligence and then come down farther on the puts. Like Sam, who keeps commenting here, he'll go down one level farther than me, and pretty much has like a 90% chance of not getting assigned. Where me, I might be in that 75 to 85% range. But I'm okay with that when that happens.
He's playing it safe.
Yeah.
He's new, so he should play it safe.
Sure.
Until he learns it.
But he's up 54% year to date, so that's
pretty good.
not too shabby.
$750 in a few months.
Yeah.
Months.
Yeah.
Here's Napoleon.
Okay. Yeah, I've been assigned at 9:30 p.m. on a Friday night after hours, so they can close the contract early and get the dividend. Okay. And that's another thing you want to do, guys. If you're doing covered calls and you've got a stock that pays a dividend, you might want to take that week off that it's going to get paid.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose that stock. You're sitting on it for a whole quarter, and then that week that the dividend's coming out, someone comes in and closes out the deal, and you lose your dividend as well. So that's something to pay attention to.
John just lost 2,000 trading NQ futures.
Hmm.
What do I do?
I don't futures and all that. I don't know. Uh, like I said, what I do is pretty simple, and I just stick to that.
You have an email address? Do you accept emails?
Well, people have been sending them to Goldfinger, and he forwards them over to me,
Yeah, that's probably the easiest.
and then I'll message you back. So,
Right here. Do you
okay.
ever trade options against a purchase leaps position?
No, and I've watched videos on that, the poor man's covered call and all that, but no, what you saw in the video, that's all I do. So, no leaps, none of that stuff. Probably asked before, but what platform do you use? Like I said, I've got 5 accounts, so I use basically all of them. So, uh, they each have their issues, so you're gonna have to look and see which one works for you. Like I said, Robinhood's easiest. They have the least fees, but you can't get in touch with them. If you have a problem with them, you're screwed. So I don't like that. So
And do you trade FOMC?
I do not.
Okay. Um,
Greetings from Kansas City. I've learned a lot from Kevin. I can hear Kevin fine, but can barely hear
I
Goldfinger.
got my mic turned down way low, so there's no echo.
Hmm.
Or do you trade CPI? Do you know what CPI is?
The Consumer Price Index.
Yeah.
That's inflation, basically. So, you pay attention to all that. The Fed meets every week. Or every month. Well, I think they meet 9 times out of the year. They're meeting again, I think, June 18th and 19th. You have to pay attention to that. Hopefully, they'll lower the interest rates this month. That next meeting.
Legends. I'm signed up with Fidelity, listening to you talk about Schwab. It's some like the platforms are very similar. It sounds like the platforms are very similar. I think it's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Fidelity is confusing for a newbie like me.
Yeah, because
they can be complicated. The brokerage accounts.
Well, to do the actual trade, like I said, Robinhood, you click on one thing, it's buy, sell, call, put, and everything, all the prices and premiums are all right there. Whereas Schwab, like I said, you got to go in, you got to click put, you got to click the price, you got to sell to open, all these different things. It's not easy for a newbie. But
Anything can be on the whiteboard. Eventually.
well, if somebody wants me to explain some again, that's why that's there. So
Missed this one right here.
been diversifying by having various ETF stock that pay a monthly dividend. That's been working nicely for the last 2 years. So there you go.
Good.
Yeah, like I said, they're not normally that volatile, and I don't know S&P 5 or SPY. That's probably had a decent return every year.
I could pick up my mic a little bit. I have it really low.
Okay.
Anyway, here's I have Schwab and Fidelity. Schwab is much better for options than Fidelity. Fidelity limits the premium amount that I can put in.
Okay. Well, that's odd, but normally I'd just take the market value. But okay, I'm gonna fly to the Philippines to know how to fix your mic issues.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'll bring it up a little bit. Is option trading available in the Philippines?
You are not. If you have IBKR, yes, you can. So, but yeah, they prefer if you're out of the Philippines before 6 months.
Did you want to try and go over? I picked up my mic a little bit. Did you want to kind of go over what again, like a repeat lesson on the strategy? And you could erase the Kevin. I just needed that to make sure it was reading left to right.
Well, I mean, if any of you guys want to throw a stock out, and I can actually go on and see what an option. I mean, what the real thing would be. If any of y'all want to throw a stock out there, let me know. And let me see. If my facial recognition will work here to get in. Come on. Oh, you know what? I don't have your Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So. Oops, never mind.
So, you want to try that?
Oh, you got the picture thing, don't you?
Yeah. What do they call that?
I don't know, the picture thing.
Share Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Doesn't make for the best videos, but
that's okay.
Yep, the little bar is there, but it's not doing anything when I click on it. All right, damn it, no.
Oh. Put it down, yeah.
All right, here we go. Hopefully
he's trying to log on to my internet right now, guys. So bear with us.
Not working.
No, can't take a picture.
Well, it gets in there, and then the little yellow bar pops up, and then when I click on it, it doesn't automatically go.
If you go to the bottom, you type it in, but it's complicated password.
But I've been here before, so it should work.
It should.
Let me see. Let me see. It might have worked. It might have. Let me see something. All right, so. Come on.
Bear with us, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's just isn't working for me. I would have done a trade, but it's not working, so sorry about that. Palantir is on everyone's radar. You know what? Right now, another thing, the market. One of your guys commented last video. The market's at all-time highs right now. You know, so if you look at someone like Warren Buffett, the Wizard of Wall Street, over 90 years old, he's sitting on a lot of cash right now. He's not buying anything. You know, he's actually worried it's going to go down.
Yeah, he's
so.
Well, when you're at an all-time high,
yeah,
it's usually kind of more of a chance of it dropping than going up. But you never know. There's always a new all-time high.
Well, but the thing is, what's causing that all-time high is stocks like Palantir. That's what PLTR is. It's all the Magnificent Seven, which are all in AI right now. And, you know, it's Microsoft, it's Google, NVIDIA, Tesla. They've all got stuff to do with AI. And yet the only company that's really making money with AI is NVIDIA, and that's because all the other companies are buying their chips. So, you know, I'm a little worried about those. Like I said, when everybody knows about a stock, that's when might be a little too late. So there could be a correction coming on that. I don't know, though. So again, do your own due diligence. I don't own it. I don't deal with it. So that's just my opinion.
All right. So if I'm understanding it, according to Unknown Thoughts, about trading in the Philippines, you can trade, but you have to leave, I assume he means every 6 months.
They don't want you here longer than 6 months in a year. So.
Are you going to do a workshop locally? As I would love to learn more as I consider the news SIRV, Investors Visa, but nobody seems to know much about it, and you said you can make more this way.
Am I going to do a local workshop? You mean here in Dumaguete? So, like I said,
he offers free classes now at his home when he's here.
Well, I mean, I'll meet you. I'll meet you at a resto bar or something like that. That's fine.
It isn't too complicated.
No.
You could show them. You're leaving on Monday.
Yeah, I am
2 days
leaving
from
on
now.
Monday, and I won't be back in Dumageddon until the 25th or 26th. I don't remember which one it is.
All right, guys, hit the likes. Got PITR at 25, but not a whole lot of it.
Palantir.
Palantir. There
Okay.
you go, Frankie.
I've got to run, but I'll watch the rest
Yeah,
of
you
it
can watch
later.
it later. It's being recorded.
All right, the Westin, 6 months, like a vacation to the Philippines is the Schwab limit. Yes, you know. And remember, like, I'm a U.S. citizen. I have a residence in the U.S. I have all that. So, if you're a Philippine resident, like the SSRV or whatever that visa is and all that, then no, you can't. Just use IBKR. So,
Okay. Do you know these?
Yeah.
Stock. Okay. Is there any particular one you like better than another? Or you
of
trade
those three, I like Clean Spark best.
Lead Spark. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess he needs. I don't see. What he says 6 months in a year or 6 months in a row.
6 months in a year.
I think he means every 6 months.
Well, like
To leave,
yeah,
right?
they don't want you living here for longer than 6 months. 6 months, that's considered a vacation. Over 6 months,
And a VPN won't work.
not saying it won't, but I'm just saying, that's, again, like I said, IBKR you can definitely use.
Yeah.
You don't have
Listen,
to worry
my
about
microphone's
anything.
turned way down, so there's no echo. I understand you can't hear me too well. That's okay. I'm way low.
Sam is options. Okay, we read that one already.
I guess we didn't answer it.
Oh, wait, with Philippine banks. The Philippines actually has a stock market. I mean, they've got Jollibee and other companies like that, but to my knowledge, I don't think so. I think the only markets that actually do options are the U.S. and Europe. So,
So we answered this question about VPN. It's iffy. You don't know. I couldn't guarantee anything.
well,
Um,
I mean, I don't know how they find out where you are. So, I mean, if you use a VPN, that's going to show that you're in the U.S. or wherever. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you've still got a U.S. address, a U.S. phone number, and all that,
I do know this, and we're going to go off subject for a moment, that they're starting to have banks in the U.S., and if you tell them that you live in the Philippines and you're not vacationing, the banks can close your account and
Sure.
give you 20 to 30 days to take
Sure.
your money out. So whenever you talk to a bank and open an account, don't tell them you're living in the Philippines.
yeah, I would not.
Give the address, tell them what your address, so does your family, friends, whatever, in a local address when you open the account. And if you ever talk to them about a problem you have on your account, let them know that you're visiting, vacationing in the Philippines, not living.
Yeah.
So,
Clean Spark and Marathon have been working good for me for options. The only bad problem with Marathon is they keep diluting their stock. So they'll print more shares, and then that's what kills them. I don't like them. I've had them in the past, but I don't deal with them.
all right. So I had
Yeah, I saw that.
there's, and they won't see it, so it's okay. All right. So we're caught up.
Okay.
You want to show again a little bit on the strategy until we get a few more questions on it? What you're doing since you weren't able to log on.
I really wish I could. Really wish I could get in there. 'Cause like I said, I could.
I don't have an option. I can let you. I don't have one.
Yeah, let me try this. Well, I tell you what, Goldfinger, let me hand you this. See if you can use my phone and
Okay.
get your internet off the picture.
Mine on.
Maybe it's me, I am technologically challenged, so. Okay, off topic. Now is the most exciting time to be in the stock market. Future of AI and humanoids is off the charts. Market will only go higher. Well, I hope you're right. But again, normally when it gets to an all-time high, the market corrects itself. So, but again, it is those AI stocks that are driving the market up to those highs. So, you know, I don't mess with those right now. Although I have, I mean, I've done Nvidia, so but right now you look at them with they're not allowed to sell chips to China anymore. That was like 20 or 25% of their market. So I know earnings came out the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? And I think they must have done well, but I don't mess with them. Like I said, I don't know anything about all that. So, but yeah, he's going to try and get me on there. I think he's putting in his password manually.
Yeah.
So, how long until we have AI investors? Well, I tell you what, Chat GP, what is it? Chat GPT or whatever that is. I mean, there are people that they actually use AI. They ask them for advice and things like that. So, and I'm sure there are programs out there that are, that are used for investing. So, I'm still doing it the old-fashioned way.
How do I find? It didn't want to work with me either. I tried different. I don't know why. I even took a picture of it. Sorry.
All right.
If I'll type it, that's what.
Okay. So he's going to do that, and then I'll be more than happy to pull up some actual stocks. We can do Palantir, since you guys have mentioned that one a lot. So, in fact, I was looking at Palantir yesterday. I taught a new guy, Rob. I don't know if Rob's watching, but that's one of the stocks he likes. He likes Palantir. What else was it? TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors or something like that. And Tesla and Nvidia. I think that's the four he was looking at yesterday.
I'm sorry. Really? Yeah, it's requires hit where the password is and password face recognition. Password.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Nothing like two old men trying to do young people stuff. Is it? Okay.
It has the password. Actually.
Good. Let's see. Let me get up for a second.
Hold on, guys. We're trying to get connected here.
But if it works out, you guys will be happy.
Yeah, Blue Horseshoe, I wouldn't know how to do that. I'm sure you can, but I'm not familiar enough with OBS to show a computer screen, and my computer does not have a brokerage account on it, so I'm sorry.
Yep. Oh, now it's just slow. On.
I either.
Yep. All right, guys. Sorry. Again, not the best use of airtime, but thanks for sticking around.
All right. We seem to have lost some questions, so if you want to, can you talk about what sectors other than crypto mining that you are interested in?
Right now that's pretty much it. So, it's what I know. So, every now and then I'll dabble with Tesla or Nvidia or something like that. So, and then a lot of us, like my friends and the people that I've taught this, they send me stuff all the time, like, hey, what do you think about this? And then I'll do some research on it, and it's like, oh, okay. And I'll give that a try. So, we
pick up as you go. You learn as you go in some cases. Coinbase is lag behind. Rise of Bitcoin. Here you go for Paul.
I got an issue with Coinbase.
You have an issue? Okay.
Yeah. I heard of an outfit that uses AI to determine buy and sell, so it does it for you as you set the parameters and does it while you sleep. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, Paul, you need to say you heard, but what's the name? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd like to see that. I don't know if I'd use it, but I'd definitely try it and see how that works. Is it bad that I don't care what the stock is and only care if I can get the premium and low chance to buy the stock? You know, it's if you know the stock and everything, let's see, is it bad that I don't care what the stock is? No, I mean it really doesn't. I mean, as long as you trust your knowledge in it and you feel confident that it's going to do what you want it to do, then yeah, you know, I mean, I've done that. So, all right, this might work. Let's see, spinning around. So
It's buffering.
yeah. So
We're using a lot of bandwidth to send lives,
uh,
and I told everybody to stay off the internet, which I'm off personally.
mhm.
That doesn't mean they are. There's like 3 or 4 people here that love to go online and do things.
Well, yeah, kids. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to work. So
Sorry.
you want stock in a strong company. Well, you know, in a really strong company and all that, a lot of times they don't pay the best premiums
I think you
because
said you wanted stock in a company you don't mind owning. You really don't want stock.
sure,
You want options in a strong company with volatility.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I never want to own a share of stock. So, but you know, if you got a company that's not very volatile and doesn't move much, then you're not going to get paid hardly anything. You know, I was looking at Coca-Cola the other day because I was thinking about using that as an example, and I mean, it wasn't paying hardly anything for a month.
It's a solid company.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, I mean, it was a 4-week option, and even after 13 4-week periods, I think it still wasn't paying more than like 3%. You know, you could pick up an extra 3% for the year.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah,
Doesn't sound like much.
yeah,
You can do
okay.
that with a CD. So
Yeah.
you know.
So now it pays a 2.86% dividend, and then also the stock could go up, but with the options, just another 3%. That's not worth my time or money. So,
Here's a question from Seaweed.
ever own any GameStop stock? To the moon. Well, and Seaweed Hero, that's when I got into the market. My friend was he's the one who told me about the Wall Street Bets kids. And so by the time I got into it, it was too late. That's the kids that cost the hedge fund all the money.
Oh, okay, yeah, you told me
Yeah.
about that
So
last one, yeah.
so but no, I didn't own any GameStop. Actually, I think I might have on my swing trades. I might have done AMC, the movie theaters, which those were the two big ones that that these kids were dealing with because the hedge funds were shorting them, and these kids came in and raised the prices and almost bankrupted the hedge funds because they had to rebuy the stock that they borrowed. So,
You know what Tempest AI is? There's so many AIs now.
have you bought any options on Tempest AI? No. Yeah,
A lot of AIs coming
I'm
out.
technologically challenged. So I was hoping to die before computers got this prevalent. So, what about missing out on compound interest? Even in a bank account or something like that? I mean, what I'm doing is basically like that because I get a premium every week and then I reinvest those profits.
Yeah.
So, you know, like say if I'm doing a $10 stock for 100 shares, that's going to be $1,000. Well, and if say it's paying a $15 premium, well, eventually, if I keep saving that $15, I'm going to get enough to sell another
Right.
contract.
Yeah.
You know, it might take, you know, if you start out
So you're investing
slow.
your profits, which is compounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, it is the same as compounding in a way. But you know, I'll take I'll take the percentages I'm making, even though I'm stuck with a bunch of stock. I'm on my covered calls. I'm going to make anywhere between 30 and 40%, and then my cash secured puts, I'm in that 75 to 90%. So put them all together, and I'll be making, and for me, a bad year, 50%, somewhere around there. So, but I'll take that over, 8% compounding.
Yeah.
So, in a
bad.
bank. So, I was asking ChatGPT about options trading after your video last week. It offered to pick stocks for me and set up a spreadsheet. Wow, that is awesome.
AI does a lot. It's come a long ways. AI will pick the best options for what you're doing, but you have to be very explicit with AI. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. You got to be very explicit with AI as to what you want, and you have to give it details. There's courses on just how to speak to AI, because you have to let it know exactly what you're doing, how long you're going to be in it, what you're looking for, because otherwise it will steer you wrong. Wrong input, wrong output.
Yeah.
Okay, simple as that, guys.
Yep. It's only as good as the data you put in. So,
yeah.
I don't know how to do any of that. I don't. Is that something you just do on Google, or is that an app?
You download the app Chat. There's a half a dozen of them at least. Now Google's adding it to their Google AI. Everybody's going AI now, the new thing. But it's very knowledgeable. It has, and you can ask it a lot of questions, and you can get to be very explicit. If you ask a very explicit question, you break it down what you want to know and everything, it will give you a very clear answer on things.
Well,
anyway, is there anybody here that really needs to know what the wheel strategy is? Because so far we're talking to most of the people. Nobody's actually asked what is the wheel strategy. So let us know if you want to know what the wheel strategy is, and he can go back over it. Because I'm sure there's some newbies on.
Yeah, and just remember, the wheel strategy consists of two different strategies: cash secured puts and covered calls. And when you first start, all you've got is cash. You don't own any stocks, so you would do cash secured puts. And what that is you find a stock that you like, and then you make a deal with someone to, if that stock drops by the close of whatever price that you decide that you would like to get it for. If it's $10 and you say I'll buy it for $9, if it drops to $9 or less on Friday, then you buy it, and you also get paid a premium for that. You're basically a stop loss for that person, guaranteeing that it won't drop more than, say, 10% for them, but you're getting paid that premium. So you're like an insurance company. And hopefully you'll never have to buy the stock. You just keep adding that premium, and then when you do get assigned and have to buy the stock, you go to the next strategy, which is selling covered calls, and that's where you pick the price that you'd be willing to sell your stock for. And basically what I do is when I get assigned, I put it up for the exact same price that I paid for it, which normally gets me a very nice premium, and hopefully it gets called away. I have to sell it at the end of that week. I'd much rather go back to not owning any stock and just doing cash secured puts.
So some of the stocks are pretty up there, $130 per share. So you're going to be paying $1,300 to buy an option.
Oh, well, look, Tesla's at what, 30?
Well, yeah.
That's 35,000.
Big company.
You're putting up to do it.
So Lost in Legends would like an example.
Would like to see an example using Fidelity. I've watched their videos, but it seems convoluted. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't get in. So everything's just too slow over here because of the live stream. But and that is, like I said, if I sit down with you guys, normally at the end, well, actually, while we're doing it, I have you do it the whole time. As I explain it, I'll have you on your app doing it, to where by the time it's over, our little session's over, that you're very comfortable doing it. And I'll normally make a little video on my phone of you doing it, and I'll send that to you, so you can always rewatch it. So,
I think this question is, I'm not sure if it's for you or for me. But your video on starting at 55, was it
That was the one where you start investing at age 55 and
something
stop
you
at
did?
62.
Okay, that's what.
So,
But we don't have that video anymore, so sorry. It's
yeah, sorry about
lost in things. And you can get a Blue Horse. You can get fast internet here. So you could live here and trade here. I don't have high-speed internet for this, but you can get what is the one from I forgot what they call it, the satellite
that. Starlink?
Starlink.
I
You get
have that,
Starlink.
believe it or not. I've got one. I've never hooked it up. I've had it
You've
for
never
like
hooked it
8
up?
months. Yeah.
Why?
It's got to be obstruction free. So the only place I can put it is on top of my house, and I'm afraid of heights, so I can't get up there.
We could hire somebody.
Well, and I'm not good with that kind of stuff. So I've got 2 friends who said, "Oh yeah, they'll help me do it," but they just never have.
I have to order it. I haven't ordered Starlink yet. I will order it. I didn't expect to do this many lives, and when I record things, it uploads. It doesn't matter with the speed, but with live, you need a big bandwidth.
Yeah.
And that's probably pretty much what Starlink is going to be necessary. Anyway, we'll get Starlink in the future. Any tips on how to choose which stocks to run on the wheel?
You know, Jason, like I said, I don't like to say which stocks that I use, but I recommend an industry that maybe whatever you're working in or whatever your hobbies are, things like that, something that keeps you interested, something that you know about, so you don't mind doing all the research and everything. But like I said, that's what I recommend. Like my old neighbor, he was on cruise ships for 30 years. So I told him, oh, well, look at Carnival, look at Norwegian, look at things like that, as an example. So.
Hey, do you have data on your phone? You were trying to connect to my internet. Do you have data? You can go data.
Yeah, but let me see. I don't understand this. When I first got here, I paid in Manila's airport, and I bought this unlimited package, and I have not paid a peso since, but I still have it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
I'm not. But,
So, I can record it. We'll have to do it next time because Kevin doesn't have his laptop here, and I don't have a brokerage account. I don't trade as yet.
yeah.
But we could do if I get a brokerage account, I can do my laptop and video, put it up there, and show you the trades. Unfortunately, neither one of us are able to do that at this time. Starlink is weak? No. No, Starlink is not weak here. Everybody gets it here, says it's very fast, very efficient. Charles says, I was warned if you have a gambling addiction, stay away from options. Well, if you have any kind of addiction, you have to stay away from everything, and that doesn't work in life, does it?
Yeah, I mean, well, there are options that, there are different things you can do. There's a ton of different things that go with options that can get you in a lot of trouble. So,
You try to do a low risk.
Yeah.
And that's what Sam's doing right now, is a very low risk.
Yeah.
And after he gets familiarized with it, he can increase his risk.
Well, he's happy with the money he's making. It's just as he gets more and more comfortable, he's adding more money to it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still, he's going to stay in that comfort zone right there.
Yeah, he seems satisfied with the results, so that's good.
I mean,
when we're talking
50%.
about Sam, we'll have to look at the last video we did with Kevin Tucker, and Sam was here present, and we did a live. Was it a live?
No.
No, it wasn't. It was recorded. Okay.
But I mean, he's making 50% on his money, so
it's not bad.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not bad at all.
Oh.
All right. Well, is there anything else to cover? Because I think they've run out of questions.
Yeah,
I've been on for a little over an hour and 15 minutes now. I think we're going to end up winding it up. What do you think?
Sure.
All right.
And again, if somebody wants to leave questions in this, they can go back and rewatch this. And if
right.
I always check the comments.
Watch the first video that I put out there, which it shows what the wheel strategy is. We have a board here, but everybody that's on here now seems to have already know what the wheel strategy is.
Yeah.
So if you're curious about it, we have a whiteboard there with Sam and Kevin, and they explain what they're doing. They're insuring other people's options and working on a small percentage and turning it weekly if possible. You should use AI, Sam, for a lot of this. Or use Greeks, like talked about the Delta. The Delta will search that out for you on a brokerage account. Thank you guys. Good live chat. You guys take care. We're gonna end it
On the channel, Jason, I'm gonna make a video of my flight back, and I'll see about starting a channel. Like I said, I just kind of got burnt out, so we'll see.
Understandable.
But I do miss it. After coming in here and doing this, I do miss it. So
yeah, you could just put up a whiteboard behind you. I have a green screen. You could put a whiteboard where the green screen is and explain to people that seem to be very interested.
I've got.
If you guys would like to watch this, it'll be up in a few minutes on YouTube, and you can watch it. It's an hour and 15, 20 minutes. And I appreciate all of you that have logged on. Say goodbye.
Sure, Filipino moments. Just put your questions in there. All right, guys.
Yeah, you can put your questions after this is up. You could add questions after it's already up, and Kevin can look at them and he'll answer you. Okay? He has to leave on Monday to the U.S. for a little while, see his family. All right, everybody. Take care.
See ya.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Didn't use the board. It didn't really seem like anybody was new.